Hey, friends, welcome back to another episode of the Scaling Deep podcast. I call you friends because I feel like I hear from so many of you who are listening in or watching my podcasts and checking in with me and what I'm talking about. So that's awesome. And if you are a regular watcher or listener and you're listening, say on one of the podcast apps, and you're willing to leave me a review, I would love that. Or even just subscribe to my channel on YouTube, because that lets everyone know that I've got some great stuff to share. So I want to talk today about something that's a little more mindset and growth oriented than a specific tactic about growing or scaling your business. I want to talk about actually what to do when you're feeling really, really stuck and how to deal with it so that you can actually grow successfully, because getting unstuck is really valuable to creating traction. And the longer we spend in stuck, shut down, frozen, indecision mode, the longer it'll take for us to start to see traction in things. And there are some things we can do, and I know they're simple, and I know that you probably know these, but I just still want to share how I've been able to work my way out of being stuck recently and what I do about it, because it happens to everyone all the time. Now, I think there's a couple different personalities. It was interesting. Well, there's tons of different personalities, but I was reading someone's email the other day who talked about how she's not been doing well, although it's interesting because her business has done the best she's ever done, like making over 6 figures in 1 month. But she was doing really unwell personally, like really unwell. And there was a sort of a serious situation that came up from her. There was a serious situation that had come up for her. There was a serious situation that had come up for her. And it was, it was mental illness related, but still it was, at a level that I don't, that's pretty bad. And part of her success had to do with the fact that she pours herself into her work when she's not feeling good. And I think that is something that some people do. And that means that, yeah, okay, then you don't have a how to get unstuck problem, because then you just hustle, which will, when you hustle, you get yourself unstuck because you try enough things that you start to see some things working. It's like throwing spaghetti at the wall isn't the best strategy because it's exhausting, but it can definitely get you out of a pickle of nothing happening, because you start to seed little seeds everywhere and some of them will sprout. It literally, anything in the world is a numbers game. If you do a million things, something's going to provide a response or get traction or start growing. It's just inevitable. But that doesn't always work for everyone. I don't do that. That makes me feel tired and burnt out. When I get super stuck, I literally just stop and I have to think. And I feel like that's a lot of my clients. It's like a lot of my clients are people who are like, I don't feel super aligned with this thing, and I'm not going to just go out there and start throwing it out there and seeing what happens. I know that I really have to believe in what I sell. I'm very values based. Have very high integrity, very high kind of honesty radar going on for the people I'm hanging around with, and just my own personality. I prefer being around truth, and I feel better facing truth fast rather than putting it off. But when I get myself into a place where I don't know what the truth is, so I'm like, something doesn't feel right, but I don't know what it exactly is. And I don't know what to do about it because I haven't even been able to uncover what is making me feel like something isn't aligned. I literally can't produce, because I can't get past that foundation of like, what is it that I'm doing and why is it important? And I spent years in that cycle, years and years and years of spinning around though. Why am I doing this business? Why is it even important? Why am I the right person to do this? I just had all these like way too much, I don't know, self-importance put onto it, or just way too much pressure put on myself to be like super highly valuable, super unique, and all these things that we don't really get to unless we've been doing something for a while. So you got to start at some point, and you're probably not going to be at that level when you're starting. You're going to probably start a little bit lower down in your level of how important it is that what you're doing is and how much impact you can make. And then you can work your way up to that. But I just felt like what I had to do had to be really, really important. And so I spun for years, trying to figure this out. Like, what is it that feels valuable to me, feels valuable to the world? So that was my journey. And that was a bit of stuckness, but it was deep thinking. It was my process. So I'm not saying that you should not do that in this. I'm not saying that you can't spend that time. I believe in deep thinking. I believe in clearing out the clutter so that you don't recycle things. Like when you need to do your own work around certain concepts or ideas or get over yourself in some ways, which is kind of what I had to do. I just had to be like, no, I actually just need to earn money and enjoy it and not have it do any harm. Do it better than other people I know doing it in terms of my values and my care. Okay. So that was kind of my thing that I got over and got into. So then there's a point where you hit when you actually have to achieve the growth. You start to do yourself harm by spinning your wheels, spending too much time worrying, holding yourself back, not standing your ground, not standing up for yourself and your value. And it's not really helping you get traction. It's kind of creating a negative experience in your business and in your life. And it doesn't really do you any good or your clients or the people who you can help. So that is when we have to get out of our own way and get unstuck so we can create the momentum to actually get the things that we set out to do. And I want to mention now how. Now, I have always been somebody who does not want bright, shiny objects at all. Like, I mean, there's a few things, I get excited about certain items or whatever. It's not like I never go into a shop and buy a shirt or something like that. I mean, I haven't in a long time, this whole working from home thing and all this, whatever, and living in a small town where no one cares what you look like. So anyway, that aside, I have not really been somebody who wanted to spend a lot before I earned it. So that was very unentrpreneurial. Like I really wanted to spend as I earned and not overspend. And that wasn't really investment oriented. So I spun my wheels a lot on my own and I didn't get a lot of support. And I had moments where I honestly just had to sit in my shit and try to figure something out that had I reached out or had somebody to reach out to, I would have been able to get resolved so much faster that it would have propelled me into excitement and into action. And I would have then started down the path of creating something that I really enjoyed and found valuable and that other people would too. And now I'm doing things differently. So now I spun my wheels for so many years that I literally was just like, oh, this is ridiculous. So the flip side of that is that you do spend time and money on things that aren't going to add value. There will be some wasted money. There will be some chasing rabbits down holes that don't turn into anything, where there's nothing that comes of it. And that is the downside of that. Invest in yourself strategy before you really know what to invest in. But there's one thing that you can really begin to invest in, and that's getting support to solve your problems. So one of the things that I did change in my life a few years ago is that a friend of mine who I've known for a while, but got really close in the last few years, started talking on Voxer regularly. And a lot of it was about our business. Even though we still mountain bike together and we do all these fun things, we spend more time on Voxer than we actually see each other, and we live in the same town. And that helped both of us brainstorm and think through our stuck points and our challenges and call ourselves on our shit a little bit when we're hearing somebody like have imposter syndrome or spin our wheels or say things that aren't clear and ask for clarity. And that's helped both of us process stuff and then get through it and then be able to move on and make a decision and get unstuck and do the thing. And that's been great. Although we're not always on the same business model tangent. So sometimes we don't always get each other's problems as well as we could, or have that final answer that would help. And so investing in high level mentorship in the last 6 months has made a massive difference, because I have access to people in my mastermind who I can reach out to and ask questions. And there are brilliant people running the same types of businesses as me, but very successful as well. And also a mentor and a couple different mentor types who I can go back and forth on Voxer until I've got my problem solved, which has been a game changer, because now I am actually invested in growing my business and scaling my business and making consistent revenue in my business. I have the expense that I have to make worth it every month, which then forces me to do something about my stuckness and reach out and start to formulate the questions, even when I don't even know sometimes what the question is. I will sometimes just submit like an audit that's like, here's my numbers. What would you do? And that's the kind of support that I don't even know what my problem is. I don't even know what the solution is. So I don't know either of those things, but I know something doesn't feel right. And so I run it by an expert to say, what is the thing? And then that starts to unravel, aha, here's the issue, because then I can start diving deep with some really interesting insight into some of the things that aren't going as well, that could be going better, that helps me to unearth my problem. And then I've got somebody to work through my solution with. So that is like golden lessons learned and stuff that I can't live without. And if you are somebody who wants growth badly, and you're in this and you have your thing and you know what you do and you love it and you want to get it out to the world, you've got to find access to the kind of support that helps you determine your problem and help you work through your solutions, so that you can 10 times or even 100 times your growth and productivity, because you don't stay in these states of like unknowingness for so long that it just gets kind of depressing, gets a bit down. You don't see anything happen. You don't see any feedback, because this game really is a math game. And when you start to get traction, you start to get traction and you start to say, oh, people are responding to this. They like it. I should just do more of it. And then it becomes easy. And if you're not even getting it out there because you're not feeling it in the first place, you're not going to get that feedback, and then you're not going to grow. So if you know it and you want it, you've got to do something about it. And you've got to make sure that you're setting yourself up with the situation that's going to get you out of your own head and into the world doing your thing as soon as possible. All right. So that's my pep talk today. This is growth mindset, scaling mindset stuff. I want you to stay tuned for my upcoming program that I'm really excited to share with you, that's going to give this level of support for anyone who's scaling a membership, which is going to make a massive difference in your success level. And I'm going to do that soon. But for now, I just wanted to share that with you. I'd love to hear from you if this resonates with you. And if you at all feel like you are in a situation and you need help now, just reach out. You know where to find me online, or make a comment below, or respond to my email on my list, and I will sort you out. All right. So thanks for listening, and thanks for being with me here today. I'll see you next week. Bye for now.